Right, thanks so much for joining us, Dave. We thought we'd invite you in to have a bit of a chat about men's mental health. November is Men's Mental Health Month.
Brilliant.
Here at Burnley FC in the community, we're really keen to support everybody's mental health, really, but with this being Men's Mental Health Month, we thought it'd be a brilliant opportunity to invite you in, have a little chat about what you do, tell you a little bit about what we do as a charity and specifically for those who are looking to improve their own mental well-being. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your organisation, Six Connections?
Yes,
Tell
brilliant.
us where it came from, tell us a little bit about what you've got in the pipeline, what you guys do generally. That'd be amazing.
Superb. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on. Good to be here. It's nice. We're an organisation. We've been going now for 6 years. And it came about through my own journey with mental health. That's how this came about in the first place. So 14 years ago, I lost my best mate to suicide. One of my best pals from uni suddenly wasn't on the planet anymore. And that became a thing for me that I needed to journey through a little bit. And very randomly, really, now when I look back on it, I kind of blame myself for aspects of him not being here anymore. It wasn't somebody I saw every day. This was years after we'd left uni and we saw each other at reunions and weddings and stuff like that. But there was just something in my dialogue that kind of went, I should have done something, I should have spotted something. And 14 years ago, people weren't talking about mental health as comfortably and as openly as they are now. But yeah, I kind of went into that space and over a number of years, found some really good professional support that worked for me, but equally I found some that didn't. It wasn't that it was bad, it just wasn't my thing. Working in charity at the time, so investing in other people was a massive thing, that really helped. But all the way through, I just had this group of mates that went, look Dave, I can't fix it, can't necessarily make it better, but if you ever want a brew or a beer, I'm here for you. And that became a huge part of that journey really for me. And I came out the other side of that and thought, look, there seems to be some stuff missing in this mental health space. Some stuff that really helped me doesn't seem to be as accessible. Why are we only talking about this subject when we're struggling or when it's too late? Why is it not a normal conversation when we're doing well? Why are we not talking about this in a pub or a coffee shop where we talk about everything else? And who's kind of looking after the mate that gets brought into this, or the family member or colleague that's more likely to spot some signs where somebody's struggling, but doesn't know what to say, doesn't know how to say it, doesn't know where the support is, feels like they need to fix everything, so they don't say anything. So I kind of went, I think that's the space that we can operate in. So yeah.
It sounds like you're, what we hear the term quite a lot nowadays in terms of like expert by experience.
Yeah.
So you've kind of filled a bit of a gap there where you felt there was something missing. And I don't know, have you gone on a bit of a journey of discovery, upskilling yourself in different areas, or is it purely just your own, what feels the right thing to do in the moment?
I think what I realised in this space as well, and one of the things that I benefited massively from working in the charitable side of things, which is why I'm really interested in what you guys do, is that over a number of years helping other people, I was signposting into help and support locally and nationally. And a lot of that support was me signposting into people that I'd met and built relationship up with. Because what I didn't want to do was pass the people on that I was working with, that I'd put a lot of effort and time and care into somebody that wasn't going to give them the same level of support. So I effectively became this signposting service, for want of a better word, and kind of sat there and went, if 99% of the population rocks up today, I probably couldn't fix everything, but I definitely could point them in the direction of something that might be able to help. And I thought, if I can do that, basic standard lad from Burnley that's just been through a few bits and bobs, actually anybody can do that. And what I realised was that opened up this difficult topic of mental health to everybody, not just the person facing the challenge. So we kind of came up with this concept of going, if you were in a position to help your mate, would you want to do it? And everybody goes, yeah, of course I would. I'm like, okay, well, let's equip you a little bit to look after yourself. And if you're doing all right, how do you invest in somebody else? So the whole tagline, powered by mates, was what we came up with. And that was the bit. How do we support the person that's facing the challenge? But equally, how do we support the people that are around them?
That feels like the missing, like you've identified, the missing bit, doesn't it, in terms of we all want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
We all feel like we should be able to do it, but maybe there's a bit of hand-holding required there.
I think
to
it's
make
the
sure you're
connection.
saying the right things.
It's
at
the
right
connection
times.
thing, isn't it? I think,
Yeah.
and I think if people are coming to you with stuff that you're not sure of, if you've got a bank of, we were talking about it earlier, if you've got a bank of charities and people that you can point them in the direction of, but like we were just saying before, it's important that you've lived and breathed that connection before you actually send them. So to get involved with stuff that we do and to know exactly what we do will then help you to signpost people into...
It's almost quality assurance, isn't it?
Trusting 100%.
Where am I giving this person something that I believe will help
Because
them?
this is a trust conversation. You open up about your tough stuff with people that you trust, people you've got a relationship with. It's why this footy ground is such a really important part of this. Why? Because people are turning up every week, sitting with the same people, parking in the same parking spaces, going to the same pubs, doing the same routine stuff with people they trust.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message for me. And I think, again, it's that element of even when you get that right, you know, if you're going down the route of professional support and help, you don't get it for a massive amount of time in your week, do you?
No.
You're going into work, you're going into family, you're going into the pub, you're going into a coffee shop. So I'm going, if other people could support you in that journey, then brilliant. Equally, I think there's another flip side of this, of breaking down the stigma of some of this stuff. You know, I still use things today that I used in counselling years ago. There's loads of stuff I don't need now because I've gone through that, but some of the practical things like a breathing exercise that just brings you into the moment. I can turn around to somebody and go, oh, actually, all those emails that are flying through, just use this breathing exercise. Take a minute. And they go, oh, where have you got that from? Oh, I got it from my counsellor.
Yeah.
All right, all of a sudden there's a stigma with a word that people automatically assume is a really intense thing. And they're going, oh, wait a second, maybe it's not quite as bad as I thought.
For me, it's the visibility is, like you've just referred to there, it needs to be not just a moment out of your week, it needs to be almost all-encompassing, that the environment, the world is set up for people to thrive rather than for them to like be panicking and in pain effectively, because it is a pain. I was having a conversation last week. I was at a conference last week, and it felt like it shouldn't have felt like it really, but somebody used the analogy of, if you got high blood pressure, you take medication to address that.
Yeah.
If you've got a heart condition, you'll take medication. If you've got any ailment, you wouldn't think twice about telling people, I take medication to help
Because you
with
need
that.
the help.
Yeah.
People don't really say, I'm on citalopram or sertraline because I'm anxious.
Yeah.
And when somebody stood up in the room, in front of a room full of people, and said, I think it was citalopram, and it encouraged the next person who came up on stage to say, well, I take sertraline.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, oh, right.
Captain, my captain. It's the full on,
But then it's like,
society.
we always hear about the number of people who are struggling with anxiety, depression in society, but when you're in a room full of people, you don't imagine that half of that room are the half of that room are those people that are being referred to.
Yeah.
You always think of it being abstract and like, these are some people that I don't know or I'm not around all the time, but they're very much, there's a lot of people who need that support and are actually taking that support, but in private, and something that's behind closed doors, because there's this, like you referred to there, a bit of a stigma associated with people being open about that kind of challenge that they're facing.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it, about normalising this stuff. We've always said, if we make this conversation a conversation that you have when you are doing great, as well as in the challenge, if it becomes a normal part of your daily dialogue when you're doing well, like we've got this thing, like the 6 connections thing, is from this thing called 6 Degrees of Separation, if you're familiar.
So tell us a little bit more about 6 Connections. That's the name of your organisation?
So the organisation's called 6 Connections, and kind of the tagline we've got is this, powered by mates. So 6 Connections came around, I just heard about this thing where we're all connected to anybody else on the planet in 6 connections.
Martin's connected by 3, I think.
3, absolutely.
He knows everyone.
Yeah, brilliant. To be honest, I thought it was to do with Kevin Bacon, because every actor's linked to Kevin Bacon. So I thought, and he's got a thing. I think he's got a thing called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or something, which feels a little bit up himself, doesn't it? But I'd seen it. I didn't actually realise it had been worked out. But I think it's Microsoft that worked it out. Something like 6.3 or whatever it is. And I thought that's decent, but separation sounds really negative. connection sounds really positive. And, you know, my business plan when I set this up was, I'm going to create a legacy for my mate and I'm going to save the world. That was it. I was like, okay, this feels like a world-saving model. Because if you can get to anybody in 6, you can help anybody in 6.
Absolutely.
So I tested it out a couple of times and I got to David Beckham in 3 because I know Chris Casper.
Does he know you? Does he know you?
Yeah. So I got to Bex in 3 and I was like, I can do that. And I got to the Queen before she died in 5, really randomly by a mate whose missus knew somebody that worked in Balmoral.
So when you say you got some, is that working out the
working out
in theory,
working out the theory in maths. So yeah, absolutely. So I was going, if somebody makes that call, I can get to. And I've done it with other people. So I was going, okay, the maths works, it's brilliant. That's how we save the world. That's our world-saving model. That feels a bit big for Burnley. That feels a bit big to turn around to my mate and go, we're going to save the world. How do we grind it? So I went, well, what if every conversation we have, every training session we do, everything we deliver, that's the dialogue at the end. You go away and have 6 positive conversations around this subject with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And it might just be to say, look, we're doing all right at the moment, but if we're ever not, I'll be here for you, you be here for me, and we'll go through this stuff together. We'll find the numbers for our phones and all those kind of things. They're going to speak to 6, they're going to speak to 6, they're going to speak to 6. All of a sudden, you've got some mathematics that takes you on the journey. And again, it's why somewhere like a football ground is so important. 20,000 people going and have 6 conversations every Saturday ripples, doesn't it? Because it ripples into schools in Burnley and businesses in Burnley. And, you know, if people are talking about this on the touchlines when they're watching the kids play footy on a Saturday morning, or they're talking in Asda when they're bumping, all of those kind of things, this becomes a natural thing. And I'm a big believer that if you're talking about this when you're doing well, it becomes an easier conversation if the challenge comes in, because it's already a normal part of your dialogue, like football and family and what you're having for tea in it. And that's kind of where we went with it, really.
And it's a really powerful mission in the sense that it's so close to home for you. I feel like all the best organisations exist because there's a real strong why behind it, and your why always comes back to your personal experience, your mate that you've
absolutely lost. And we've said all the way, the beauty of this is that the why never changes. The business can flex, and what we do can flex. You know, we've got a training programme, but equally on the flip side of that, we put 40,000 pints into Wetherspoons last year with a QR code on a pump clip, and the QR code just went back to some digital help and support for people. Absolutely opposite ends of the spectrum, and a lot of people go, well, you can't do mental health and beer, and I'm going, it's not about beer, it's about an environment where you're comfortable. You know, I've done enough work with the recovery community to go, that's not for people, but equally we've put it on coffee bags, we've put it on t-shirts. You know, we've got a beer called Proper Natter in the Royal Dyche at the moment. People talk to me about Proper Natter. They've no idea who Six Connections is, they've no idea about Power by Mates, but the pub they go
that's
to...
That's irrelevant, isn't it?
That doesn't matter. It absolutely is.
It doesn't matter.
Because the why is about me, but the message isn't. And people, you know, you can pick that up and put it anywhere you need to. And that's the beauty of it. I think often in this space, it's too black and white, isn't it? It's too clinical, it's too... And I'd always had this thing at the start, I think I was chatting to you earlier on, saying I'd always had this fear of going, because I'm not clinical and because I'm not the expert, are people going to trust in this? And actually, it's been the absolute opposite. Because I'm just a normal lad from Burnley, it actually goes, oh, wait a second, you're like me, it's relatability. Of course, we've got all the professional support there if we need it. We've got the signposting, we've got all that wraparound. But actually, it needs to be somebody that goes, I can relate to you.
Yeah, and I think that's a really nice segue in terms of, I suppose, our approach here at Burnley.
Yeah, this is really interesting, boys. I'm really keen on this.
Introduce this section because you mentioned something before about places like this behind us. So we've got Turf Moor here where we're sat. And something that I think in our world, or it's not even our world, it was put out there and it went pretty viral. I think it was last season. There was Norwich City
put something
out where
they made a really good video, didn't they?
You know, you think you're focusing on one person who's going through some mental struggles, but actually it's the guy sat next to him who seemingly is really outgoing and friendly, and it was pretty hard hitting, wasn't it? It's relatable in the sense that it can happen to any of us, and probably those who you don't expect can come up against challenging situations and hit crisis points. But
have you seen the Brighton one? Because Brighton have done one, haven't they? Have you seen Brighton this season?
No.
I'm not
sure.
Now that's better.
Better.
Okay.
So I'll tell
Interesting.
you, so
Right.
I had this dialogue around the Norwich one all the time, and I think they did a great thing. And people go, oh, do you love the Norwich video? And I went, yeah, it's a good thing, it's great. He dies at the end. It's not got a good ending.
Right.
Okay.
And
I mean,
not that they've done it.
it's powerful,
it's
isn't
powerful,
it?
it's
That's
hard
why
hitting,
it
but
was
I've gone, wait a
powerful, yeah.
second,
Yeah.
the outcome of this, and it goes back to the fact that this needs to be ongoing and repetitive, and it can't just be a one thing. That gets the conversation started, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Whereas the Brighton one, it's really interesting, the Brighton one, they've created something where the guy goes on the game with his pal, and as they're doing all the chanting in the stands, he's dialoguing what he's going through. So he's basically going, I'm going through stress, I'm going through anxiety, and he's singing along, to all the tunes, really clever. But at the end, and I think this was potentially the challenge for me with the Norwich one, at the end it actually gives you something physical to do. So the guy at the end's walking away with his mate, and he says, are you okay, are you all right? And his mate's like, yeah, I'm fine, no bother. He's like, no, you can tell me if you're not, you don't see me. And the dialogue starts, I'm going, that's good. That's taking it another step on. In fact, it's told you what you can do in that situation. And I think that's the beauty of football, isn't it? That Norwich one went literally viral, didn't it? It was all
and I
over
think
the shop.
all of these awareness-raising things are really important in their own way, however that steers, whether it's sparking conversations or, in an ideal world, signposting people in need to safe spaces, resources, help and support, that kind of thing is fantastic. But just to bring it back around to, I suppose, our approach to health and wellbeing broadly in the community, and then with a more specific focus on men's mental health. So Martin's our health and wellbeing project coordinator here at Burnley FC in the community, delivers alongside our project officer a lot of our health and wellbeing support for people in the community.
Brilliant.
And we have do you want to tell us a little bit about our approach in relation to what Dave said?
We see that a lot of the support that is offered out there is clinically based in sort of health centres, hospitals, and I think people spend a lot of time in there, especially with the older adults that we work with. We don't just work with older adults, but there's a lot of time spent in a doctor's surgery getting that checked, or I'm getting that checked, or I'm getting that checked. What we wanted to do is create a safe, warm space for people to come into where they could still have that clinical advice. Not from us, because we can't be the experts in Parkinson's. We could, it'd take us a long time to qualify. We can be experts in cancer, but it'll take us a long time to qualify. We don't really have that time, and we've got a real need on our doorstep where we need to be opening these safe, warm spaces for people to come in. So what we did is, similar to you, we made those connections and we partnered up with people that are clinically trained and that are clinically specific in each different topic, so Parkinson's, cancer, dementia, mental health, and they come to us because it's Burnley Football Club, and they trust us because in this town, Burnley Football Club is in the centre of the town. All the bins, and I say it all the time, all the bins are claret and blue. Some of the Just Eat signs are claret and blue. There are other companies that you can buy your food from. The signs on the for sale signs, some of them in and around Burnley, are claret and blue. And I just think everybody in Burnley trusts us. It takes a while to build that trust up, but I think once you've got that trust, for instance, we've got our social prescribers now from all over Burnley that we are, I would hope, and I would say, we're top of their list in terms of who they're going to socially prescribe people to. So they're having these one-to-one meetings, they're getting to know people. Oh, you like playing dominoes, or you like playing canasta, or you like playing rummy cub. Well, Burnley Football Club in the community run a health and wellbeing project at Burnley Tennis Club every Wednesday, 10 till 12. I'll meet you there. Brilliant. So they come with them for the first week or so. And then after then, it's up to them to make their own way there. And I would say probably 9 times out of 10, the people that are referred to us and they get brought down, they come back.
And because it's on relationship, and it's built on relationship.
And it's a little bit like you referred to before. We know we're comfortable with our role in that. Yeah. We know that our strength lies in the power of this, the club badge, the relatability of the football club, the importance of the football club to people. But then we also recognise the fact that, as Martin's quite rightly referred to there, actually bring the people in who know the subjects, but we create that environment. And Martin is very good at creating a warm, friendly environment cups of teas and biscuits.
Which
and
is the
things like
starting
so
point,
important.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
you feeling comfortable. You can't save the world on your own, can you? Like you say, the experts are out there. It's often just changing the environment for somebody
that's right.
so they feel comfortable to maybe do the things that they wouldn't go and do at the doctor's. Why? Because you've created a safe space. It's safe space. Isn't
We're
it?
also
That's it.
very much about when they're ready to do it as well. So
Brilliant.
we've had people signposted to us that have come to groups for 6-8 weeks, not got involved, not done anything, but then 8 weeks in, they're like, can I have a go? Football session, for instance, they're on the sideline, they're drinking the tea, they're having the coffee, they're having the chats. Can I join that team on there? Yeah, of course you can. But when you're ready.
Yeah.
And
Because they're part of it, aren't they? But on their terms,
and,
which
but
is
they've
great.
built up that trust with us up until that point where specific, people that come to our groups are ready for that help. And I think it would be detrimental to us if we tried throwing that help down the throat straight away. And I think if they know that every Wednesday morning, for instance, whether I want to go or not, that club's going to be there, and it's always going to be there, and I can just dip in and dip out.
We've talked about this a lot, haven't we? It's the consistency. It's the fact that you don't have to think too hard, is it, or isn't it on this week?
Yeah.
And having it on every week and people being welcome to attend every week or whenever works for them is a huge strength. And I think there's too many programs that are, short-term funding and long-term change needs to happen over time. We all know that, and having the ability for people to engage in things long-term, like you say, when they're ready, not when we want them to make that change.
It's like any relationship, innit? The good relationships take time, don't they? You learn some stuff. This isn't a one-size-fits-all subject either, is it? Some people will walk in and go, right, I'm totally comfortable playing football week one. Like you say, other people will stand on the sidelines and watch, but they're still part of that space, aren't they? The care that you've created is there, whether you're kicking a ball or not kicking a ball. And it gives you a level of control. You're sticking an arm round, aren't you? That's literally what you're doing. And I think that's something everybody can do, isn't it?
I think with our programmes, we cover health and wellbeing quite broadly, but what underpins every single one of our health and wellbeing sessions is supporting people's mental wellbeing. It doesn't matter whether the session is there kind of badged as a Parkinson's session or a cancer session or a dementia session. The fundamental layer, ground layer is supporting them to feel comfortable and welcomed and safe in that environment. So I think mental health, mental well-being is fundamental to everything that we do, isn't it?
It is,
Not just
it's simple but brilliant, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. The simple principles, but to get them right and to make people feel as comfortable as they do in your stuff. Credit to you, because not everybody's doing that, are they?
And tell us a little bit about what's coming down the line then for you. What's your offer look like for people who might want to engage with Six Connections and Powered by Mates?
So again, the beauty of chatting to you and what you do, I'd kind of seen a gap really, 'cause I wanted to, having worked in community and worked in charity, there seemed to be a lot of things out there, but there didn't seem to be a massive amount of stuff around the corporate space. And I really focused on that. I thought, actually, how do we get into businesses and it'd be more than just an employee assistance programme and a mental health champion? Yeah. So we've really focused on that, and the beauty of that is it links us into businesses who are then linked into local football clubs, local gyms. So we've very much not challenged the workplace wellbeing principle, but we've kind of gone, okay, what happens when you're outside of work? What can work do to support you? But they don't need to support everything. And actually, some of these conversations are going to go wider than your 9-to-5 job. So we've really focused on that. We've created the training sessions around that. We've just built our own co-working space in Burnley. Again, we've never had our own home. We've always worked from different spaces or in different businesses. And one of the things in my head was, if you're going to talk to somebody about the stuff that they're going through, you take them to your house, you sit them on the sofa and you make them a brew. So it's like, right, we need to build our house. So we have, and we've put a bar in it, and we've created a training space in there, we've put meeting rooms in there, but it's also a co-working space. But everybody that comes in and co-works has to commit to going through our training programme to be part of that space, because we're creating a culture of care. Yeah. And it's as much about people supporting other people as it is them saying, do you know what, I'm probably not doing great today, so I'm not the best person to help you, but the signpost is such and such will be. Or I'll give you 10 minutes to go and have a brew and we can have a chat. And that's been a really important part of what we do. And obviously we're linking more into the club this year as well,
Brilliant.
which is an amazing thing. So that's quite an exciting project for the rest of this season.
Fantastic.
Watch
Well,
this space.
yeah, it's fantastic to have had you to spend this short amount of time. I think we could probably talk
I think so.
all day long about this topic, and
Yeah.
it's such an important topic that we're really aligned on. And like I say, it is Men's Mental Health Month in November, and it's been fantastic to welcome you along here. And we look forward to following your progress, your organisation's journey, and I'm sure there's lots of great stuff that we can do together.
Yeah.
100%. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
Been
you.
brilliant.
Thanks a lot.